Okay, so let's begin. So we'll start with the call for anyone who has anything to feature or demo. Pull requests, incoming changes, anything they'd like. Open mic.
Maybe I can change. Maybe I can start. It's okay.
Go right ahead. Yeah, please.
Oh, okay, 1 second, please. So I want to talk about the my pull request to Adobe Media Gallery. So I changed it several days ago. It starts from the work in progress to the ready for the code review. I think yes. So the first thing that I implemented all requested changes according to Evgeny and Sergey's review. So I now we have base implementation of this model ready to be again reviewed. Yes, and we have a safe action for the Adobe Media file. Yes, and related keywords. So all already existed test passed, but test coverage is decreased, but I can cover this implementation with tests only after approve of the main changes, just not to waste the time. So hopefully we will close it as soon as possible, and after that we can create several improvements. According to this issue, we decided not to load this pull request with a lot of stuff, but separate it in possible steps in order to improve our delivery. So maybe that's all. So hope that soon I will present some just closed pull request. Yep, maybe that's all.
Excellent. Yeah, hopefully soon. Definitely Sergey has to do another review. And like I mentioned at the start of the call, he's a little busy right now at Magento Live. So not sure when he'll get to it. But it wouldn't surprise me if it would take a few more days at least. So
Yes,
hang
it's not a
tight.
problem because it's not a problem because just during this time maybe I will recheck it and try to improve something.
Sounds good. Cool. Thank you for that. Any other volunteers for showing off some stuff? Yeah, understandably, it's been a bit of a slow week, what with Magento Live. Not to worry. Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit and move into more of like an open discussion kind of thing. So if there are maybe any issues people would like to highlight or get reviewed, or questions they have, or really anything to bring up with the group, now's your chance.
And what event we will have tomorrow? Sorry, maybe I missed something.
Sorry, what was that? What was your question?
You mentioned that tomorrow will some discussion event, or I didn't get idea.
Oh, no, tomorrow I think Magento Live continues. Is day two.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so in terms of Serhi, the main man, main reviewer, I think he'll still be busy tomorrow. So I was just pointing out that you will probably need to wait a few more days for your pull request review. Uh, that's it. Okay, well, I just have one thing to highlight. Let me bring up my browser here. One moment, sorry. Okay, share screen. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen. So I pointed this out, I think in last week's call, and definitely in the Slack channel, that we're taking first steps to get some of the documentation tasks lined up and starting to square it away. So I've highlighted the Devdocs issue that's on my screen right now, and Jeff and Kevin have dropped some super helpful, informative comments about structure for the dev documentation and how we'd like to move forward with this. So thank you very much, Kevin, for that. Super helpful for me as a new Magento person to kind of get my bearings. So thank you for that. So if anyone has opinions on how they think some of this stuff should look like, some of this stuff should be structured from the developer documentation perspective, please jump in on the issue and comment away. Be great. And the other thing here on the topic of documentation is I'll just reiterate that on the merchant documentation side of things, there's a project set up just for us, just for the Adobe Stock Integration project. But this is not developer documentation, this is kind of merchant or user-facing documentation. So it's a bit more split out into several different topics, several different updates that need to be made. There are 10 issues up for grabs in here. I get the feeling that people on this call are generally more excited about writing code than writing documentation. But I still think it's super important. And I believe this is where I'll be spending most of my time in the coming weeks. So if anyone feels like writing docs, feel free to jump in here and comment away on issues and come help out.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about, I mean, I've seen the work you've been doing with these docs during the week. What is the process to work with these issues, at least with merge docs? Is it like Magento 2, for example, you go to the issue and then you ask to get the issue assigned? Or I don't know. I never contribute to Magento. I've done with Devdocs, but not with Magento before.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know.
Hi, this is Leslie. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Welcome, Leslie.
Hi, I am on the call. Great question. We are basically operating almost identically to Devdocs, really. We're trying to model all of our processes around what's worked well for Devdocs, since that's been an open source project that's been going on for some time, and is also obviously Docs. Why we invent the wheel? Let's do the things that work well there. So, as Phil already outlined, this project has a number of issues that are already outlined that can be worked by anybody. So yes, please do just assign it to yourself and work the issue the same way that you would in Devdocs. There is an integration branch, though, I will point out. PRs will go against that integration branch rather than master, because we cannot merge to master until the feature is going to be released.
Nice, excellent, yeah. Great, thanks for the explanation. Another question I have, but this one is more related to, well, it's actually related to Devdocs. Phil, are you planning to create tickets and issues like you did with merge docs?
That's a good question. I think it kind of depends on how the conversation goes and the one issue we have. It looks like the evolution of that issue so far has been, oh, we think this is pretty easy, won't have a lot of stuff in it. And then with every passing day, it seems like, oh, actually, there's a lot more content in here than we initially expected. So one task has now kind of turned into 3 tasks so far, as I can understand.
So I saw the discussion between you and Kevin and Jeff, all the comments about the REST API and the section on the additional, forgot the name of the section, additional, well, whatever. It's one of the main sections in the menu. So apparently it's going to be one section for installation and another section under this one. I can get the name.
It was like overview and installation, then there was REST API, and then there was extensibility.
Functional areas is the section I wanted to mention. Yeah. So is it going to be like that? One section on their development modules and another section on their functional areas?
Oh, Kevin, we can't hear you. Still nothing. You're unmuted in Blue Jeans, but we
Yes.
can't hear you. So I'm not sure what's going on. Technology. Technology's the worst.
We need to call a technician, a technical support. The developers.
Or learn sign language.
Poor Kevin.
Yeah. Oh, that's too bad.
I don't know what he's saying.
Me neither. Maybe we can just get Kevin to reply in the Slack channel if he's in there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, he's in there.
a good idea.
So sorry about that, Kevin. But we can continue this conversation, or maybe in the Slack channel, follow up on it, and whatever conclusion we end up on, we'll definitely update the issue on GitHub. From my perspective, I would defer to Kevin and the Devdocs team. Whatever process they would like to follow, we'll just accommodate that. So I know you and I, Raul, are pretty flexible, so we'll just see where that lands and go from there.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Anything else from anyone?
I'm not sure if I've mentioned before. This is not related to the repo or something, but I was going to mention that I'm going to meet Magento Spain next week. I'm going to be talking about Adobe Stock Integration in Madrid. So let's see if we can get some Spanish reinforces, contributors from there.
Very nice.
Hopefully it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be my first public talk. Let's see how that goes.
Oh, wow. Nice. Very good. Well, I'm sure you'll do
Good luck.
fantastic. Yeah, good luck. Oh, it looks like we have Kevin. Kevin and
Hello.
Leslie. Dynamic duo.
So yeah, I'm
in
over.
one screen.
I'm over to Leslie's desk. Can you hear me? Are you muted?
Yes.
Let me ask
Yes.
that question.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can
All
hear
right.
you great now.
Awesome. Yes, so I do intend to have a drop down on the functional areas for Adobe Stock Integration. There's just too much to go about that any other way. I don't think there's anything wrong with having installation information along with the other core extensions, assuming that it is treated the same way as for example, inventory management. So yeah, we'll have basically, and possibly even the REST material actually belong in the REST directory. So it might be the architecture part, it might be just scattered about, but it'll be presented to the users in a familiar way.
Right?
Okay, and I don't remember if there were any other questions at this because I was just too frantically trying to find my volume adjustment. But was there any other questions, Raul?
There was one. It was more or less trying to understand what structure the documentation is going to have in Devdocs. Okay, you left it clear. So you say
Okay.
there is not going to be section under. I keep forgetting that name for some reason. Functional areas. It's not going to be. Sorry.
No, it will. ASI will be under functional areas.
Okay.
And so when you drop down that menu, you'll see Adobe Stock probably right if they're, I don't know if they're alphabetized or not, but if they are, they'll be right at the top.
Okay. And in that section is going to be the documentation related to the installation plus any other.
Everything but Installation. Installation will go with all the other installation like
Okay.
MSI and reCAPTCHA and all those other extensions.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Turn the headphones back.
It's okay.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you, Leslie, for sharing.
Oh,
Jesus.
can oh.
Guess we could just. Oh, maybe that
Okay. Sure. I know one thing I'll just highlight to everyone is behind the scenes a little bit. I know the team is working on getting a wider set of integration tests with between ASI and I guess kind of vanilla Magento instances wired up. So it's not happening in the public right now, but that work is kind of ongoing, and some of those test suites are failing. But once we have a sense of why they're failing and getting them fixed up, I think you can expect to see these test suites being integrated into the pull request process for the project. So I know that there's a bunch of different things. I think a lot of these test suites are also already in place through the Travis testing. But this, I think the plan is to move that to like I'm blanking, like the Magento hosted testing infrastructure with Jenkins and a few other integrations.
I was going to say
So
if that was the Jenkins infrastructure that Stanislav mentioned last week.
that's the one. Yep. So that's still ongoing, and probably take a little while to figure that stuff out. But just as a heads up, in the coming weeks, I would guess you'll start to see those checks land on pull requests. And I think the plan is also to roll them out kind of granularly, piece by piece. I believe there's something like 10 different test suites that the Magento infrastructure supports. So as we get each individual one passing, we'll move that over into the public. So the list of checks on the project pull request will be growing in the coming weeks. So just an FYI. That's it. That's all I've got. So last call for any discussion topics. Okay. All right. Well, we'll save everyone a bunch of time. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for joining. And we'll see you all next week. And yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good
Goodbye.
one.
Thanks, guy. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.